So how's it going, everybody? What do you think of this whole meditation thing? Usually just cross your eyes. Pictures speak louder than words, right?
It's hard for me because there's a lot of turbulence in Ukraine and there's a lot of turbulence around the world, so I'm feeling very disturbed.
Right. So you're.
And a lot of times in my life it's hard to go into meditation.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Sometimes like we need to know when to be able to just do like a stillness meditation and try and not think about those things so that you get a break from it. Sometimes that's one of the best things a meditation can do for us is to give us a break, like a little vacation from that. Especially when if there's a heart-born kind of like a helplessness feeling, like if there's like you can't really do a lot about it, and yet it's bothering you, right? That can be troublesome. Can be. Doesn't have to be, but can be. Anybody else want to say anything about the meditation, the current meditation practice, or their state of affairs lately? It's going to be, sure there'll be some weeks where you feel like you're right on, and then other weeks will feel like you're having more trouble than others.
I'm feeling pretty good this week.
Yeah.
Got like 4 times now already.
Good, your numbers are increasing.
Really good, and still listening to you all the time.
Yeah.
I think that's okay for me. I think that's what I need, but
yeah.
Things getting calmer faster, like able to sort of go to the diamond beside the pencil head in my, I'll lose it, but I'll also be able to go back. So
that's good.
It's still really hard.
So it's progress. What's wrong here?
I feel like I'm little by slowly.
Yeah, it's better. It's better like to do that. I think can we turn it down a little bit? It's a little bit bright. It's light. Yeah. Like I was saying, that's nice. A little earlier in classes, it's like it's good that you're just trying to increase your numbers, just that not freaking yourself out by trying to do too much too soon, and that will lead you to like a lifelong practice, which is what will benefit you more than anything else, right? And I wanted to address something. March emailed me a question. It was a really fun question to get. It was, is it okay? Okay, well, I should fill you in on this. We've been doing summer meditations. We've been doing stillness meditations and analysis, and some of the stillness meditations that we've been doing we've been focusing on like a pinpoint of diamond light in the center of our head, right? And I always say pinpoint. And then Marge asked me, is it okay if my diamond is the size of a pencil eraser?
I picked it up.
What's that?
I picked that up.
Yeah. And so I wanted to say to everyone that that's a good question, and I mean really any size is fine. And the only reason why I'm saying head of a pen or tiny is that to get the mind used to focusing on small things, right? There's certain practices that we do that when we develop our stillness, and that as our focus increases, we gain the ability to practice on focus on smaller and smaller and smaller objects, and it has a certain potential, or it can be helpful to get your mind. I could say even get your prana deep into your central channel, deep into your inner wind, inner energy, by focusing on something that's getting smaller and smaller. So that's really the only reason why, in a sense, that I'm saying head of a pin. So that it's like a target, in a way. It's like a target, and at first it might be quite big. Um, when I first began to meditate, it was like they didn't say anything like that. It was like just get into the center of your head, and that was like a pretty big ball, right? Um, yeah. You want to say something about your practice or meditation? You had your hand up.
I didn't, but I would say.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, but
okay.
yeah, I would. For me, like stillness meditation is not that easy. Like I get distracted, but I try to meditate while doing things. Like instead of like I'm busy with something that doesn't need thinking, or can it be walking or chores around the house or things like that. And then I try to focus the task that I'm doing, and it helps me a lot to calm my mind and not get distracted, or if it's something that usually is unpleasant. By doing that, I don't feel that I'm doing something unpleasant, because I'm just, I don't know how is it. And these days I go swimming, and that is actually a very good meditation practice for me at the same time, because after a couple of laps, I kind of forget about the rest of the world and become just absorbed in the water and the lightness of the body. I don't feel the body boundaries anymore. And I feel, especially if it's not that crowded that I have to be aware of other swimmers. I think that I forget that I'm a human being. I imagine myself as some creature that has to do this for the whole life, and it feels good. But I don't know how is it different from stillness, because I haven't experienced that much stillness meditation. Or is it a substitute for that, or there?
Well, what you're talking about really is a form of stillness, right? It's if you're doing activity and you reach a state of focus like that, where you semi-disappear to yourself in a way, and your idea of yourself begins to change, and you're not analyzing and you're not trying to figure things out. But somewhere you're feeling quite still, right? And the only difference between sort of what you're doing, like saying walking or swimming or whatever it may be, and sitting and doing that, is that when you're sitting, it can be more challenging, because the mind likes things to do, right? And so that's why it can be challenging to sit and just focus on the breath for a while and try to stop the mind from jumping all over the place and thinking this and thinking that about every other kind of thing, or even about the breath itself. And the point being that if you can do it sitting down enough times, then those kinds of states that you're talking about come easier and quicker naturally during the day. So it's great to do both. It's great to be trying to be like mindfully present while you're doing anything, and that will change your experience of it. It will change your experience of it, for sure. And the idea being that becomes effortless. Sometimes we need to exhaust ourselves. Like I've had situations like that, even in the years when I was beginning to meditate. Maybe I was 3 or 4 years into my process and of meditation, and I was working a lot of hours, right? And I wasn't getting a lot of like official sit-down time. But at that time, I don't know what was wrong with me or what I was thinking. I think I was thinking that I needed to make some money. But I was working like 16 or 18 hours, like a day. And I would do this. I would do this for like 2 weeks, right? I would have the weekends off, but the weekends were just basically like being tired. And I would, my mind would be grinding up against these thoughts in myself, like calling myself some kinds of names, like loser. Of course, like I didn't have much money. I was working my butt off, had no money, but calling myself all kinds of names. What are you doing? Like working so much? You're just working to stay working. You're way in debt. This is ridiculous. And then I would like get home and I'd be grumpy, and I'd get home and I'd expect, right? This is the trouble we get into, is we expect things because I'm out working, I should get special treatment or something like that, right? But and I wasn't meditating, and after a certain amount of time, this happened on a number of occasions. I just got completely wiped out mentally, and then I noticed a beautiful peace arise from out of that exhaustion, and I realized that I couldn't fight anymore. I couldn't try to decide anymore. I couldn't try to figure out what I was or who I was supposed to be anymore, and that I just was. But I wasn't smart enough to figure out what happened. I wasn't smart enough to figure out that all that really happened was I stopped thinking about myself long enough to be happy, to be at peace, right? Very profound experiences for me. I'd be like, how can I feel this good? I just worked like a 14-hour shift. I'm on the way home. How can I feel this amazing? Lots of energy, like there's a ton of energy and this blissful feelings running and happiness, and I after a while I figured out because I was just so tired. But then what I began to find was, as I began to meditate more and more, what I began to find is the stillness of my mind began to infiltrate into my day. And then, like, completely mundane tasks that I would have thought were just like things to get out of the way so that I could like go on living or something, those kinds of things became very, very beautiful, deep, profound experiences, only because I was there to experience it. That took a while, though. It took some steady work. But so how do we open, right? How do we open up to the playful present? Like how do we get outside of trying to find some profit, like in the moment, trying to and just simply it's like free falling, because we're always trying to put a label on things, right? We're always trying to decide this person is this relationship is this is this, and so we create our own environment where we're stuck inside our own ideas of things, and so things can get pretty stale pretty fast that way if we've already made up our mind about everything, or need to make up our mind. And so how do we reach a place where we're so relaxed within ourselves and still within ourselves that we can just open up to the play? We all want to be innocent again, and in a way it's like returning to your innocence in a sense where you don't really know what's about to happen, and you don't really know who this person is across from you. You don't really know their whole experience. You don't know how they're seeing you. You don't know their deep trials and deep loves, and it's like they're some undiscovered country right sitting in front of you. And then what we do is we have our whole own story that just throws it onto this person, and this poor person, I have no idea the box you put them in. Yeah, they have no idea, right? And the same as we don't have any idea what the other person is also like. We have an investment in them. Oh, yeah, I want them to like me. I want them to see me this way or that way. When you have no control over that, it isn't. It's like, how do you get to that place with someone? Like, how do you just be your just, ridiculous self with somebody? How do you just like let it all? Because, yeah, that's what meditation does for you. Is you get still enough to actually see the people, the personas that we play out, and we can actually gain some distance, just enough to feel crazy for a while until they're gone, of these personas that we want to present, like to get profit from the situation, right? Well, if I present this person, well, maybe I can get this, right? It's just what we do until we don't, and there's an end to that, and that's a big part of being free. Actually, that's a big part of being free, is when that process, that continual process, stops in your mind. But it's not going to stop unless you do something about it. And I will say this about meditation. It's like, often I get questions like, what type of meditation should I do for this? What type of meditation what type of meditation should I do for that? Or, I want this, or I want that. And really the bottom line is, you will get results if you meditate, and you won't if you don't. That's just the bottom line. Like, if you just sit down on a daily basis, or as daily as you can possibly make it, and you have some instruction, eventually that instruction is going to turn into your own way. Eventually you're going to find your own way, and you're going to get good at it, and you will get results. You will get results, and the results will be surprising. And those results won't be because you did the right meditation. Those results will be because you sat down enough times in a row. That's just like the sad truth of it, in a way, is that every single person is different. And so every single person is going to have to find their beautiful little treasure trove inside there. And you go looking for it. You do. You go looking for it. So that you can bring that. You can bring that to the party. Right? The potluck. You just bring your own treasure trove. But it just happens to be your own heart that you have discovered. And then you can see that undiscovered country, treasure, in everyone else that you're interacting with, because you've opened up your own, and then you get this insight into the light, the light of the constant arising of the unpredictable playfulness, and then you then have the ability to let someone else have that. You be who you are, and let's do this little dance together, and we'll have fun. It might not turn out the way that my prescriptions. It might not turn out like what I think I would like, or some kind of part of my mind the doctorate wants. Right? It might not turn out like that. It might get messy. Right? But we got to go there.
For me, the measure of whether or not I I am actually meditating by any means. It's the amount of peace and joyfulness that I feel.
Do you mean during the day or during meditation?
Right after meditation and for a while after, depending on how deep I have meditated and how often I do that. It can be like if I do it once in a while, it lasts only a few hours and then disappears. But if I do it on a regular basis, then I feel more and more during the day. So that's my measure. Whenever I feel a lot of stress and not grounded, not centered, I know that, okay, I'm not meditating.
Right, you gotta plug in, right? Sometimes, if we meditate enough, the opposite happens of what you're saying. And sometimes that can be the sign of a really good practice. If things get really stormy.
What's that? I didn't hear.
Like, sometimes, if when we sit down and we do a regular practice, things come to surface, right? Things come to surface that we've been ignoring or we've been trying to avoid. And that can get really, really rocky. That can feel, and that's when especially when you need a teacher. At that point is when you need someone the most. When you need someone who's gone through that, and they can say, okay, listen, this is what's happening. This is going to end. You just have to go. Because someone who has gone through that can recognize the signs, can say, okay, yeah, I know just what's happening. Because, let me tell you, when you begin to really witness the way that most of us try to manipulate our way through our world, and everything's an interaction, right? Everything's like some barter for something, and there's some kind of selfishness in it, even faint, but it's just there, and you start to begin to see, what I'm trying to get. I'm always trying to get. When you begin to see that, and you're getting separate enough from it to kind of feel both versions of yourself. The one that's like okay with everything and kind of loving and kind, and the other one who just wants for itself and is willing to go out of its way to, manipulate the situation. Then things get really weird for a while because that other one is coming up and it's dying. It's on the way out, but it's not gone yet. And that is a freaky time. I will tell you, that is a freaky, could be years. It could be 1 year. It could be longer. It's a freaky time. And it's great if you've got someone there that's just like an anchor for you. That's just like, they see you and they're so there for you that you can even get mad at them. And they know what's going on. They just keep loving you and say, yeah, no, this is what's happening. Yeah. In deep retreat, sometimes, on my second 30-day retreat, I was about halfway in, and a mental storm came to me that was unbelievable. I had been meditating really, really well. 4 times a day, 6 in the morning for like a couple hours, 10 o'clock for an hour, and then just before dinner for another hour, and then before bed for a couple hours every single day for 2 weeks, and then right about halfway, man, I had to hold on for dear life because I was alone. There was nobody around. I was inside a small enclosed area, and my mind, I literally felt like I was strapped onto a mizzen mast of some ship in the middle of the ocean. It was like thoughts, just like all these thoughts and worries and messages and I can't even describe it. And it lasted for a good about 3 hours. But I had enough wherewithal to just stay with it. And then when it passed, the clarity and the bliss was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Just like pristine, crystalline bliss and clarity. And when that kind of thing happens, you have full recognition that something inside of your mind, you by your sheer heart will of your practice, you reach down to the bottom of the lake and pulled up something that had to go. And you pulled it up in such a condensed way that you could even say that you got years of suffering over in a 3-hour condensed ball of insanity. Right? Right? So I'll take that any day over 10 years of low-grade irritation. Right? So, and that's how you gain freedom. That's how you gain freedom. That's how you gain the ability to walk outside of your door and it's like it's all good all the time. No matter who is in front of you. So, first let's do a stillness meditation. We'll do a stillness meditation and we'll do a little break, and then we'll do another sort of interactive analysis meditation on emptiness of things. So that'll be good. So if you need to stretch out or anything, all right. So closing your eyes. Unless you want to keep your eyes slightly open, which is good if you're sleepy. You can just have your eyelids open just enough to let the light in. And let's follow this sound of the bowl. So jump on the sound and just use it as a little doorway into a different place as we enter meditation. So checking in now to see if you're holding tension But first begin, if you're sitting, feeling where your lower body is connecting to the earth. If you're lying down, feeling your whole back body, that connection. And if you pay close attention, and try and distinguish the simple feeling, the sensation. What does it feel like wherever your body parts are touching solid surface? If you let go into that, it can become evident where you're holding tension in other parts of your body or parts of your body. It's quite relaxing to do that. And remember, whenever we do this, we're attempting to just be with the feeling alone and to discard the mental images that go with the feeling. So every time you notice there's these pictures arising, this is the shape of my body, this is what the floor looks like where my body meets it, this is how I am, this is what I look like. Try and use your exhale to discard those kinds of thoughts or mental images, and then use your inhale to re-engage softly and just be with that feeling. It's a very nice way to launch into a different idea, a different concept of yourself, the idea of what you are, what your experience is. Just noticing. Using an interaction, using a instant of time to be in the present moment. The continual present moment of your body connecting to solidity. Now that we've relaxed into that, let's then open up our posture by using the next in-breath. So now you're going to breathe in nice and deep, and then use that breath to draw your crown towards the sky. And then as you exhale, relaxing the shoulders, feel this draw of your crown towards the sky and a lifting of your heart, so that you then begin to feel like you're sitting alert, but relaxed. Sitting like a mountain, open and still, watchful and still. jaw is relaxed. The tip of your tongue, right where the teeth meet the gums, top of your mouth. Or wherever it feels natural. Can help relax your jaw. You want to have a gentle humor about the whole situation. So you can help that with a gentle smile. You don't want to be the mountain that is frowning upon the valley below. You want to sit like this mountain that has an open, gentle smile upon the valley below. Now begin to pay attention to the breath at the belly. You're not making any efforts to control the breath. In fact, you're doing the opposite. You're noticing if you're trying to control it and let it be. However it may be, whether it's choppy, whether it's long and smooth, just let it be as it is. And feel it. How does it feel? So your mind is focused on the feeling alone. And tossing out thoughts, mental pictures. Just feeling. Let it be felt. Now let your mind get more subtle, so we're going to lift up the focus and go to the tip of the nostril, getting more subtle. And watching the breath here as it passes the nostril. So watching here is paying attention and feeling, detecting sensation of the subtle breath passing the tip of the nostril. There's a connection here between your root chakra. You may notice that if you get subtle enough, this subtle connection as you focus at the tip of your nostrils to a feeling or an element of grounding down below your first chakra. If your mind is agitated still, using the technique of counting, so that the mind has more to do. Punctuating the breath between the exhale and the inhale with the number. Going from 1 to 10 and back to 0 again, if you can maintain your awareness the entire time. If you drift off in the count and remember, oh, I was supposed to be counting, and you come back to 0 and start again. If you lose the object, gently coming back, being happy that you're back to being lucid and focusing on your breath as it passes the nostrils. So let's tiptoe off of the nostrils and go back and focus on that pinpoint or that diamond light in the center of your head. If you can't, or is having a hard time getting a sense of it, then visualize this radiant, luster-filled diamond that's catching the sunlight, and it's sparkling inside the center of your head. Giving off colorful light rays as the sun fills it with light. as you focus on this area, this light, and you begin to feel more and more like you're rooted in this place. You may begin to feel brightness happening on the inside. As your practice becomes more subtle, you'll begin to notice finer and finer adjustments as your mind jumps away and starts thinking about your toes and fingers, and then you bring it back. And in the moment that you're fully engaged in that light in the center, you're not thinking, you've forgotten about your fingers and toes. They don't really exist in that realm of focus. And as your practice goes by and time passes, these fluctuations will happen less and less. So each time you gently bring yourself back, it's training your mind to stay still. So let's try taking that light now that's glowing in the center of your head. Visualize it moving back towards the back of your head and then down and nestling into your heart area. So it's like you've taken this glow and gently moved it back and down so that this glow is now near your back body in the area of your heart, which will feel very different. Any confusion that happens or straying away or thinking about what this is supposed to be, what's it supposed to look like, how's it supposed to feel, we discard those, ignore those, and keep coming back to just simply trying to have your focus there and noticing how it feels. Simple. Then we'll do a few mind exercises. You're getting limber. You take the light and draw it back up. Move it back up into the center of your head again. Notice what that feels like. How is the brightness different than when it moves back and down? and then move it back down again. Just gently having the light move back down, resting in the area behind your heart near the back body. Feel its presence there. It may help to visualize that you're sitting further back in your chair or leaning further back into it so that you feel it more in a relaxed way. We're going to stay here at the heart for a little longer. We're going to gently come out now, and I'll ring the bowl. So be very soft when you come out. And just be with the sound of the bowl. Ride that sound out to surface. Coming back to the room. And as you open your eyes gently, seeing if you can stay in that heart center, or feel at least some kind of residue there, or an echo of having your mind there. And as you take in the room more, as your eyes open in more, just try and feel like you're staying in the center. You're looking out from the center and taking in your surroundings. Like you're peeking out from this place you just went to. And let's all come back. Nice. Personally, I like being with people like this. Isn't it kind of a nice way to hang out, right? This. So it's different, isn't it? The different. it's a different feeling being here versus being down here, right? Did you notice there's a different feeling and different mental sensation? Does anybody want to share anything about that process? Say anything that they noticed that jumped out, or?
Behind my heart, the light got very big and stretched out, and inside my head, it was very much contained in the density of my brain mass.
Very different.
But I don't know if I was achieving the meditation because I perceived it very much as an observer. I didn't embody the light. I was imagining it in my mind, but I wasn't experiencing myself as that.
Yeah. That's eventually that's how we do it. That's how you start, because you have a starting place, and then over time or quickly, depending, eventually you can't help it. It's almost you get sucked in. You get sucked in. You can no longer look at it because it stops making sense, and then you pop in.
I could imagine that happening eventually.
Yeah.
And my legs fell asleep.
Oh yeah.
I'm a beginner. I'm just going to practice how to sit here without dying. Completely numb.
Yeah, and that's part of meditating, is finding how you can sit. Like, I meditated in a chair for a year before I prefer this. But I meditated for a long time in a chair. Yeah, for years.
I almost moved.
No, it's not supposed to be a torture session. Although it can be. Sometimes you'll know, like sometimes you'll be sitting and you'll get that kind of thing going on, and there's something in your mind will say, it's okay, I can ride this out, and it will be part of my meditation. Some other times you'll be like, I just need to move my leg. You know. And else feel anything about going up and down, what that was like?
I felt when it was up here, it was very kind of like focused and small. And then as I moved it down, it just similar, it kind of just expanded. And it was a very different feeling. It felt much more like I was really focused in the head. And then when it went down, it became big and warm and lovely. I don't know, it's like a different feeling, like an orb. Yeah.
There's a reason for that, you know. It's like this is more of our kind of cerebral center, right? And this is more of our heart, emotion center. And they're both very, very good places to get used to in your meditations. When I meditate, my meditations for the first years was always very in here, and it was always like center of head was the big deal, right? Center of head was the big deal, and I got very, very good at just being there. It's like you were saying, at first it's weird, and then something begins to happen, and I remember the first time that I felt like something had happened, and this thing, I actually got to my center. I felt like I don't know if anybody's ever, probably Wesley has, held onto like a bike tire, like a bike tire or something like that, and like the tire was spinning, and you're holding onto the axle, and you can feel like the equilibrium or whatever of that's the word I would use, of the tire spinning, and it's like whoa, and then it smooths out, and then it's very steady in the middle. I don't know if that means anything to anybody here. That was the image I had. It was like also it was and that was just from like just trying to see it at first, and then I was like, oh, there's this other place to be. There's another place to live from that I had no access to before that. And then when I began to do stuff where I was dropping back and down, I was such like a connoisseur of this area. It was difficult that I actually felt like I was a bobber, or like a balloon being pushed down underwater, and it was like boing. It would just pop back up. It was like like again and again. I couldn't stay down there, and it took me a while to be able to actually stay down there. Um, so both are good, and the reason why I got us to go back and forth was it's kind of a trick in a way, because a big part of becoming still is getting your energy into your center, right? And so if you're moving this light kind of back and forth, your mind, by the nature of what you're doing, is being forced to think about that area, and you're back and forth and back and forth, and then the mind is like something to do, right? So you're just tricking your mind into the center, which begins to feel very different. Living life from a place of like deep in here or deep in here is a very different experience than living life that out, like pressed against the glass, right? That's my favorite thing, right? Like you're pressed against the glass, looking at, like, it's very different than being like back here, present. Here I am. How can I help you? What do you need? How can I help you? And maybe you can't help them, but that's okay, because you're sitting back and you're like, well, maybe just your presence is enough. Like that's where you can be a very present and heartful listener. Someone comes to you with their troubles, if you're not, I don't know. Sometimes I think that the best thing you can do for someone is just give them a sounding board. Because a lot of times, I don't know if you've noticed, I've noticed that myself, you solve your own problems. You start talking, and then they sort themselves out because you're witness to your own process. But you can be a very powerful assistant to that kind of process by being right down in here and being with them completely. And some people find that hard to do, some people find it hard to be with, some people find it hard to be with someone that's like that, because if we are uncomfortable with ourselves and are sometimes it can be hard to be with someone who is completely in their center and giving us that opportunity, because then we're like, whoa, this person's not playing my game, right? And you just want to run, right? This person's not going to play my little game. And you just want to I don't want your phone number. So it's like, it's a process of that and settling in. So a good practice would be to play around with that and then choose one, right? Not like go back up and down, and then just okay. I'm gonna for the rest of the time I'm gonna hang out here now and see what if I can what that's like. I don't know about you, but I always begin to feel my arms more and my fingers more. You start to light up because there's prana, right? There's energy that's connected into this area. And when you actually move into this area, you're like opening that area, and then so your pranas begin to run, and you're starting to feel these other things wake up simply by the very nature of just going there.
I didn't even feel my hands, like I just felt completely bliss, nothing.
Yeah. Good, right?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. It's like that, what you were saying earlier about swimming or whatever. You change your idea of what you are changes, and it's valid. In that time, it's a valid experience of, right? One thing I really like about Tibetan Buddhism, one of the things that they say, they never say things like in the scriptures or whatever. They don't say. They don't, in the process of their teachings, they don't call this like a clock. They call it the instant of this clock. The present instance of this clock, which is very different than saying the clock, right? Because this clock is degenerating. It's busy, and we can't really notice it, and our interactions with any sort of object, and that's what we'll do next, is an instant of that clock. So it's like this instant of you. You're no different than, like, your perception of how you are in your body and your mind is that instant of that experience. So you experience that instant of March, that's real. That's going down. And it's not like you're anything but that. And you can have that. You can have that as a beautiful experience. And eventually, if you do it enough, your instances of March can be like a continuous perception of that kind of feeling. Blissful. So, the next thing I'd like to go into is the concept of how that kind of stillness, how we can get that calmness of the mind, and then be with other people, be with our life, and begin to notice how it is that we're constantly labeling our fellows, our peers around us. And that it's those very things that don't really allow us to see them. And what was I saying earlier? How do you open to the playful present, right? Well, we have to drop our ideas about what the present is, so that we can actually have an experience, electrify it. How do we have an electrified experience? Right? We have to throw away our things that we're holding on to, that are keeping us feeling like we're safe inside these ideas, right? I'm safe inside my ideas of what I think you are. And as soon as you do something that contradicts my idea of what you are, then it's like, whoa, that's not my idea about what you are. So, and your idea was never right. It was always your idea. And so, how can we do that? Can we be with people and continuously recognize that however we're seeing them, we're making those kinds of decisions. So let's play around a little bit. Let's do partners. We'll do a partner meditation. These are great. So we got 2, 4, 6. Okay, we got an even number. So let's go into pairs. So can you meditate sitting up, or do you always is a chair works best for you? So who's ever going to have the honor of being Leslie's partner will use a chair so that you guys can sit. And we're going to face each other, and we'll have a fun little meditative experience facing each other. So you got to pick a partner. And it doesn't matter whether you know them well. Sometimes it's good if you sort of know them well, because maybe it will help you blow your concept about what it is you think that they are, right? So, I'll be someone's partner. Okay. Because I know her. I know what she is. What's that? You guys gonna be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll take some time, stretch out, and then let's Steve, come over here. So here. Should we turn the camera so that we see? Yeah.
No, that's why.
Oh, starts there?
From here it goes there and there. Every time I'm there, it's not in my heart.
Oh. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working on that for quite a while, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when I get there, like.
You mean Wesley Brothers? No.
You're getting more.
I like it.
Twins.
Twins.
You already know.
Yeah.
Call each other in the morning when you get dressed.
I had a mental idea you were brothers, and I put you into a box.
Wesley, you're the boss.
I put him in the box of John's brothers.
That didn't work.
Not as bad as that.
You know, when I was in Arizona, one of my main teachers, Lama Roger, we do look alike, I think. But some people would disagree. But everywhere we went, we got. Are you brothers? Are you cousins? Like one time we got. Are you gay lovers? That's such a mess around. And the funny thing was though that Lama Roger's wife, Lama Yvonne, did not see it at all. I do not know what these people are talking about. You do not look like each other. It was so funny. Yeah.
But you are siblings, right?
Yeah, we are. Yeah. That's why I know what she is.
I can tell that by just looking at the picture.
Oh.
From your website.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I should put a new picture on there. Not really realistic, right? I'm like. Or maybe it is realistic.
What is real? We just
Good
talking
point.
about it.
Very good. Okay, that's definitely fun. So we'll begin. So you got your partner sitting across from you. So we'll begin first by closing your eyes and just getting comfortable. I'm going to tell this person your deepest secret. I'm just kidding. Out loud. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Are we still live?
Yeah, what's that? Yeah, we're live. Yeah, we're live. We're live. Yeah, it's recording. Everything is being recorded. So we're not going to get anything on that. Okay. So close your eyes. And let's just first relax, get over the jitters. You can even have some humor about what you may or may not be feeling. You know, all of a sudden, oh, what are we doing now? This person across from you. So just be with your posture, relax into your seat, and just try not to pay too much attention to the idea that there's someone sitting close to you across from you. Just be with yourself. be with your own belly rising and falling, the breath. Since we just meditated not so long ago, I won't take too much time in getting centered and present because we just took a leap from there. So we'll go back quite quickly. Shoulders are relaxed. Heart is soft and open. And begin to watch your breath out of your nostrils, just taking some time to settle into the feel of your breath passing the nostrils. It can be very helpful and engaging to try and pay close attention to the pause between the out-breath and the in-breath, and the in-breath and the out-breath. It's a special moment, a special place. Try and catch it, and you may notice it lasts longer and may not last longer, but it's a nice place to try and focus. So now what we'll do, when I say to do it, keep your eyes closed now, but we're going to open our eyes and just look at your partner and just look at them. You can look in their eyes, or you don't need to look in their eyes, but it'd be nice if you looked in their eyes even briefly. And just notice them. Notice their body, their clothes, and then you're going to close your eyes again. So, and you're going to have them open for about 10 seconds. So let's do that now. And then close your eyes. And then with your eyes closed, just think of what it is, what's your experience of this person across from you. Try and catch any assumptions, thoughts that you're having about what it is that they are, who they are, what their life might be like, why they're here. And just think, with your eyes closed still, like all of your interactions with this person up to now, whether you've known them for years or whether you've just met them. Can you see how when you look at them you have certain thoughts? You feel a certain way. You have certain opinions. positive, negative, whatever they may be, medium, neutral. And how we don't generally check. We just think that they have those qualities. Sometimes we even create a history of their life. What's happened in their life to make them like this or like that. And could those qualities actually be coming from them, or are they coming from you? So next what we'll do is this time we're going to open our eyes but not make eye contact, and simply let your eyes wander and notice their legs and arms and clothes they're wearing, and kind of let your eyes wander around. So, and without looking at them in the eyes, and we'll do that for about 5 or 6 seconds and close your eyes again. So start now. Just look at this object in front of you. Notice what they're wearing. Don't let your eyes meet. And then close your eyes again. And just see if you can recall with your eyes closed what it was like do you think that you know what they feel like in their clothes? You know? They put those clothes on today. They chose them. They got those clothes somewhere, given to them. They shopped for them, possibly. They're wearing them for a reason. And then so try and think, well, try and imagine in your own mind what those clothes mean to them. What's it like for them to be wearing those clothes? How do they feel in those clothes? Why are they wearing those clothes? And can you know? Is there anything that you can know about them that's not your own story? Just think of all the care that they've taken in their life to try and make everything work out. And think that is it even possible that the love that you want in your life, and the joy that you crave, the freedom that you crave, the connection that you want to feel with other beings, Could it be that this person across from me doesn't have that? Are they different from you in that way? Now we're going to, when I say so, we're going to open our eyes again, but this time we're going to make direct eye contact, and we're going to hold the eye contact for about 10 seconds, and just gaze into each other's eyes, and then we'll close them again in about 10 seconds. So let's start now. Close your eyes. And just reflect on that interchange. The feeling in your heart. Kind of warming up. Is there anything about this person across from you that you're not putting the story onto? I mean, if your story, if what you're looking at is coming from them, and you're like interpreting signals and it's all true, well then that would have to mean that everyone had the same story about this person. And we want to experience the impossibility of that. So we're trying to find the whole in our theory. We're trying to find a place where we can drop the object. We talked last time about dropping the object. Can we realize that this person that we're experiencing across from us, can we realize that they're not restricted by your opinions or your thoughts? They are their own whole universe that you can't really know. You can only know your experience of them, and that it will always be that way. But you can still be very connected. So let's open our eyes now and look into the other person's eyes. And try to recall the stillness that we had a little earlier. Like you can recall the diamond in the center of your head as you're looking at this person. Very relaxed. And as you gaze upon them, as you see them, can you get that beautiful feeling if you don't really know? That you're looking at a constant stream of your own ideas about this person. and that how you see them is not how they see themselves. And so, are they any less precious than you? To you. Can you sit with them and relax and know that you have no idea what they're looking at? The you that you think you are, they are not looking at. So can you set yourself free from that and let them have it? Let them have you that they see. So that you're like, it's like a free fall. It's an electrifying free fall. Can you be continuously dropping the object that we're trying to deny here, which is this person is giving off these qualities that I see. We're trying to drop that object and continuously use the fact that this person is a perception of my mind. How I experience them is a perception of my mind. And that if you have a lot of energy in your center, you'll probably experience them as very pleasant, beautiful. If you're having like an odd day or something like that, you may be looking at someone and you may think they're irritating. Or like, get away from me. I don't want to be around you. But that's not the problem if your wind's in the center and you're like open. Then they look different. So what's going on? Is there anything to do about this? Now let's put the icing on the cake now. This person is precious, holy being across from you. Life. The expression of life, divine, divinity, wrapped up in some skin that they might not even experience skin. They may see themselves like some kind of angelic being that you don't have the virtue to see. Or they may feel really bad. They may feel depressed and bad about themselves. And you may not see that. You may see, oh, wow, to be someone like that. It's still your idea. So then can you open up to the possibility? They may be, you don't know. You got to get this suspicion. They may be completely angelic. It can be hard. Just free fall, the playful presence. It's easier to play crib. A little bit longer, the icing on the cake, timeless being. This is an entity that has lived. They got here by living. They got here by experiencing. Timeless, beyond counting, lifetime, sitting across from you. You're being blessed by their presence. They're precious. Precious. You feel your heart love this being across from you. For no reason. Outside of profit, outside of gain. Just an experience. So we're going to bring it to a close. So just before we bring it to a close, you can use your mouth and say hello. Hello. Say thank you. And let's we'll come back to our chairs and end this madness. Pretty wild, eh? It can be. It can be pretty wild. It's very, I mean, we can go through all kinds of stuff. We can go through a myriad of stuff in 10 minutes doing that. That can be very healing experience. That can be very traumatic experience. But often it can be very revealing. Right, very revealing, and I wanted to do this because it's very useful. It's very useful to learn to continuously try and drop your concept and let it be fresh, and notice when you've got me and Wesley as brothers. This is a good example, right? Yeah.
I'm in a new environment and I'm trying to make connections, right? Pieces together.
Yes.
And that's when it's the most difficult to let that down, is when you feel anxiety or when you're trying to figure out a new place.
Yeah. It's so, thank you for that. It's like we're constantly looking for a safe place to stand, and we're just, and that's what you get to notice when your meditation practice, you start to notice that you immediately go, okay, okay, that's who everybody is. What we need, the practice is to begin to notice that that's all your own story, because the mistake that we make is we mistake the object itself for the story, and we just don't think. And we have these stories running that we feel are true. And upon investigation, we often find out that none of it was true, but we still carry this thing, right? And we must. It's not like we must have some kind of story, right? So, can we let the story run and just be open, and then I find that a great practice to do when I'm at work. I'm a construction worker. I do all kinds of crazy things at work, and I really enjoy seeing people and just seeing them and just constantly dropping, constantly like noticing an opinion come up and just drop it. And what happens is the other thing begins to emerge, because it has to. Because you then realize you're up against yourself in a sense. You drop the object enough times for the divinity or whatever it is to start to emerge, start to glow, because you realize you can't really see anything else. And anything that's not that is just your idea. You don't really know. And that gets really exciting. And the best part about that, maybe not the best part, I don't know what, it's a good part about that, is that's also a story. That's still you. So what does that say about you? If you're starting to be able to walk on that and you're starting to be able to see like electrifying, like holy experiences, that's also an arising instant of you, of your whole experience. And if we can practice that enough, then anything that's happening in our life, whether it's a coming together or a breaking up or a car breaking down or losing a job or getting a job, we can be with this is the next instant. This is the constant instant of my experience, and I am going to be labeling these experiences. And that naturally leads to kindness. It naturally leads to kindness because it naturally leads to pulling the blame off of the outer object, and it forces you to turn inward, and then you begin to relate to the world as you want to give it what you want. You naturally begin to want to give others what you crave, which is love. That's it. That's really all we want. There's no amount of money that's gonna quench that thirst. There's not a pile big enough on this earth that can quench that thirst. Anyway, that's enough for tonight. Thank you. And if anybody would like to speak to me about anything